Welcome back to another session in Jo's kitchen. Now today, anything could happen because I am going to have a go at making pastry. I have put it off for almost 10 months. You know, the time I've been doing all these Jo's kitchen sessions, and I've put it off and I've put it off and I've put it off, and I really don't think that I can put it off any longer. So today I'm going to make a quiche, she says optimistically. So we shall see what happens. So bear with me a minute while I just get this camera set up so you can see what I'm going to do, because the first thing I've got to do is make the pastry. Oh. Right, so in this bowl I have got 175 grams of plain flour, a pinch of salt and 75 grams of butter, all of which need to be chilled. So what I'm going to do is I'm apparently going to rub in this butter, which I've cut into cubes, into my flour and rub it until it's like breadcrumbs. So really clean hands, and we're going in. Oh golly, this might take a while. Okay, so squidging away like mad. Now everybody always says you need to have a light hand for pastry. I'm not absolutely convinced. I am really not. However, we shall see what happens. So while I'm rubbing away like mad like this, why don't you lot come back when I've done the rubbing in, because otherwise I think you might all go to sleep. See you in a few minutes. Okie dokie, there we go. Breadcrumbs, I hope. So I've rubbed and rubbed and rubbed and rubbed just between my thumb and my first finger until all the butter has been mixed into the flour like that. And remember, there is a pinch of salt in here as well. So actually this to me looks a lot like how I would start to make a base for a sweet crumble, which I can do. I'd just chuck sugar in that now and that would be a crumble mix. However, for pastry, we don't do that. So what we have to do next, apparently, is get some very cold water and add about 3 tablespoons of water to our mix. But I'm going to do 2 because I'd rather underdo it than overdo it, like that. And then I'm going to get my knife and I'm just going to start to stir. Now I think I'm right in saying, and people have always told me, that you shouldn't overwork pastry. So you should literally just stir it until it starts to come together. Well, I don't know about you lot, but I don't think that's coming together. So we'll add some more water. This is where it's all going to go horribly wrong. You do know that, don't you? Let's see. Oh, that might be slightly better. Maybe. And you have to make a ball out of the dough. Let's see. No, I don't think. Oh, I don't really know, because the problem is I don't really know what it's supposed to feel like. Put a tiny splash more in. Multiple guess time this is, guys. Multiple guess. I haven't really got a clue what I'm doing. I think the idea is that you squidge it up like this and it all forms a ball. But I'm not 100% convinced that it's quite wet enough, because it shouldn't be sticky, I don't think, but it should all stick together. So that, I believe, is about where we want to be. Perhaps. Well, I hope so anyway. There's probably people that know what they're doing watching and going, what on earth are you doing? Stop squeezing that pastry. But anyway, never mind. Right, that has formed a ball. It has. I'm suitably impressed. Okay. I'm not going to lie, I make quiches a lot, but I don't usually put pastry into them. What I would normally do, I'm not convinced about this. What I would normally do is just make the filling, put it into a dish, put it in the oven, and have what we call crustless quiche, or a Spanish omelette. which is great for using up any bits and pieces that you've got left lying around. Anyway, there we are. We now have a ball of pastry. Hurrah! Now, what I have to do, apparently, is wrap this in cling film, put it into the fridge, and chill it for 30 minutes before I roll it out and put it into the flan dish. Now, I believe that the object of doing all that is so that it doesn't shrink when I cook it. So, come back in a few minutes and we shall see how far I've got. Okay, and we'll roll it out and put it all into the flan dish. See you in a few. Okie dokes. Right, so that has been chilling in the fridge for half an hour. And now apparently I have to roll it out into some semblance of a circle. So, okay then, let's see what we can do. I've floured my board. I'm working on a marble chopping board, which is supposed to be the best thing for pastry. Now, I ain't going to lie to you all. This board has never been used for making pastry. I don't think, in all the time I've had it. It's just been a chopping board in the kitchen, but apparently it is very good for pastry. I'm not 100% convinced that I have got this right. Looks a bit cracky, maybe not enough water, I'm not sure. But, you know, you've got to try, don't you? Now, I think the idea is that when you're rolling it out, you keep moving your pastry around so that it doesn't stick to the board. That would be the plan anyway. And I think also the idea is that you make your pastry quite thin. Again, ever hopeful. Let's have a look. Of course, if the worst happens, we can always go to Morrison's and buy some. Other supermarkets are available. Right, let's have a look. I might just try patching that over there a bit. Looks a bit gappy around the edges, doesn't it? But hopefully that won't matter, because that will be the edge of the quiche itself. The important bit, I think, again, hopefully, is that we don't have any gaps in the bottom that the filling could leak out of. This might not end well. I cannot tell a lie, chaps. This might not end well. Let's have a look. I bet you're all laughing your heads off at me now. Okay. The next time Ruth has bright ideas about what I need to be making, I think I might tell her to have a go herself. Although she's getting very good herself at this cooking lark. I've been seeing some really good pictures of things she's been making at home. So there we are. She can probably make pastry. Me? Not so much. Now, I have absolutely no clue how thin this needs to be. I'm going to Scooby. But I'm assuming reasonably thin, so that it doesn't take too long to cook and that it cooks fairly well. So there we are. That's about as good as you're going to get, I think. So this is my flan dish. I'm not particularly into making this sort of thing, so I haven't got a loose bottom flan tin, which is what the recipe says I need. But hey ho, never mind. Now, I think the idea is that you lift with your rolling pin. Oh dear. Or not, as the case may be. I think this is the idea, that you use your rolling pin to lift up your pastry, and then you stick it in your flan dish. Now, this one isn't particularly deep, but it is a quiche dish, so I'm assuming that it'll be okay. Now I'm just going to pop it in like this. There we are. There we go. Just easing it down. And popping it so that it goes into the crimped bits. Well, all things considered, you know, it could be worse, because there are no holes in the bottom of the pastry and there's only a little bit sticking up over the top, which I think is probably fairly good. Well, I hope. There. Can you see that? you lot. There we are. I'm living in hopes. Now, I've read varying different opinions on what to do with the edge of this. Some of them say bake it with the edge up so that if it shrinks back, it doesn't matter and you can trim the edge off. So I think that possibly might be the way forwards. That might be what I decide to do. I'm just going to add that bit onto there just in case it has a bit of a shrinkage problem. There we are. Now what you have to do, you need to do what's called bake it blind, which basically means before you put the filling in, you need to cook the pastry, and you do it like this. So you get a piece of baking parchment like that, and you stick it into your flan dish like so. There we are. So I am actually going to do what it tells me to do, and I'm going to leave the edge of this up, rightly or wrongly. I'm going to try it. Now, apparently what you need to do as well to hold this down... Oh, wait a minute. I think I was supposed to prick the bottom of the pastry. Wait 1 second. Hang it tight while I do that. Right, okay. La la. So prick all over the bottom of the pastry without going through it, just so that it stops it rising up, apparently. Right, there we are. I've done that bit. Right, so you're supposed to use what they call baking beans, which I have no idea what they are, but I can definitely remember my mother using rice to hold these down, so that's what I am going to do. I'm putting a load of rice inside my baking parchment like that, and then that goes into the oven for 10 minutes, and then you take the baking parchment off and put it back in again for another 5, apparently. Your guess is as good as mine. So where are you all? Oh, there you are. Right. So I am going to go and I'm going to stick this in the oven, and hopefully it'll cook. So come back when we've cooked it and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, see you in a few. Okie doke. So my pastry case is out of the oven. Come down here and have a look. There we are. I'm not absolutely convinced that that's what it's supposed to look like, but that is what it looks like. It hasn't risen up too badly. There is a little bit that I'm slightly concerned about down in this corner where it had cracked a little bit. But, you know, we can but try, and we shall see what happens. Now, the quiche I'm going to make is ham, leek and cheese. Okay, so I have fried off in this frying pan 1 small leek, which I've just fried really gently in a little bit of butter. So we're going to put that into the case and spread it around a bit like this. And like I say, normally I would make this and just make it in a dish without the pastry, but you know, you've got to try, don't you? So there. So that's spread around across the bottom of the pastry case. I've also got some ham. I'm going to pop that in. This is just ham that, you know, you can just buy from anywhere. Chopped up into little squares so that I can spread it out again across the bottom of the pastry case, so that hopefully we shall get a nice even filling, because I'm very hopeful. There we go. It's quite well spread out. And then I've got some cheese, just grated cheese. I'm going to pop that over the top of the ham, like so. And then, last but by no means least, in my bowl over here, I have got 3 eggs that I've whisked up with a tiny bit of cream and some black pepper and some salt. Okay, and then the idea is that this is what makes the quiche: 3 eggs, a little bit of cream, splash of milk, whisked up together with a fork, okay, and some salt and pepper. And then we're just going to pour that over the top into the case. Oh, anything could happen, and it probably will. There we are. Oh dear, give it a moment. We don't want it coming over the top, do we? And it is quite shallow, is this dish. So I'm living in hopes. Maybe not going to get quite all of it. I'm not going to get quite all of it in. But that's all right. That's fine. There we are. So that is ready to go into the oven for 20 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how thick the quiche is and how long it takes actually to cook. So basically it's just a question of watching it, waiting until it's set and it's gone golden brown on the top. So keep your fingers crossed, guys, and I shall see you in a few minutes when it comes out. Okie dokie, so the quiche is out of the oven and it looks relatively successful. Come down here and have a look. There you go. So as you can see, nice and, ooh, we're rocking a bit there, guys. Nice and golden brown on the top, and I've just been informed by Kirsty that it's supposed to spring back if you touch it. And as she spends her days baking, I'm inclined to believe her. And that is doing exactly that. So there you go. That's my tea for tonight sorted out. What are you lot having? It would be good to know, actually. Drop me a comment and tell me what you're having for tea. We're going to have quiche tonight and we're going to have it with salad and new potatoes. So that should be quite nice and light tea. And I will be back, of course, with another Joe's Kitchen very soon. In the meantime, let's see pictures of your baking. What are you up to, you lot? We're back in lockdown. We're stuck at home. You know, come on, let's have a look. See what you're doing at home. Let's see some pictures of you baking. Are you making cupcakes? Are you making a quiche? If you're going to make a quiche, put a picture in. Let's see what you've done. And of course, everybody, stay safe, stay at home, and of course, stay creative. And I'll see you all soon. Bye.